Okay, so today's class is a Franklin method class. It's called traveling along the spine. What is the spine? If it's easy to say what it's not than what it is. If you take your arms and legs off, you take your head off, then the rest of it is your spine. So, you know, the majority of the body is actually part of the spine. So let's start with a vagal release, and let's just do one that's a little bit different. Let's just hold our chin. So we're going to not do the arm bit, we're not going to do the side bend, we're just doing the eye part of it. So hold your chin and think of a big clock in front of you, and you're looking up to 2 o'clock with both eyes without moving your head. It's quite interesting how strong a release you can get just with the eyes. So much of our information comes through the eyes. So I always find it quite a strong release. So you're not getting the influence to the cervical spine in this, but you are just really working on the brain through the eyes. So you do it for about 30 seconds, and then you close your eyes for a second, and then you're going up and away to 10 o'clock. You're looking for the sigh, the swallow, the yawn, more saliva in the mouth. I'm a little bit sniffy today, so I'm hoping I can stop sneezing long enough to teach the class. So about 30 seconds, and then close your eyes, and now look down to what would be 4 o'clock. Try and do it with both eyes and try and stick on that mark. Don't look around the room. So for me, I'm getting quite a strong reaction just from doing the eyes. Lots of saliva in the mouth and a little bit of a yawn. About 30 seconds, and then close the eyes and you're looking over to what would be 8 o'clock. So even though we haven't done anything for the neck, it will relax the neck, it will relax the thoracic spine and the rib cage. It'll bring you into much more focus. So everything we do, you're in a much better state of mind to learn and to be receptive when you're in this frontal parasympathetic nervous state. So we just regulated our vagal system just with the eyes. Just do a few shoulder rolls, move your neck. So let's bring in the neck now, and a new way to do the neck. 2 fingers on the chin, just in the indentation above the chin, and then just gently push the chin towards the bones at the front of the neck until you feel a stretch in the capitis muscles in the back of the neck and the suboccipital muscles. And then release. Now, if it's not too strong, you could just hold, or if you feel that it is quite challenging, you could do it 3, 4, 5 times with a bit of release. Again, you're pressing. Feel the muscles at the back of the skull, where the vertebra of the neck goes into the skull. Feel the muscles up down the back of the length of the back of the neck. It's a really lovely stretch. And again, it's going to really help to balance the suboccipital triangle, which is a vagal release. It's going to really help you to, here goes my nose running again. It's really going to help you to, one more time, come into that calm, balanced state. And come back into center. I didn't sneeze yesterday or the day before. Today I woke up and I'm sneezing. Who knows why? So have your feet at hip space, and you're going to do a Franklin method release. You're going to link your fingers. You're going to put your hands at the back of the skull, on the round part of the back of the skull, and you're just going to gently pull up. 1, 2, 3, and then release. So you're feeling like the vertebra in the neck are stretching upwards. Take a deep breath in as you pull the skull upwards. Feel like the air is going into the discs between the vertebra, pumping them up, and then breathe out as you decompress and come back down. So again, you're breathing in and you're pulling up. So that's decompression as you move the skull up. As you breathe out, you're coming back into a normal neutral neck. So when you do this, The skull and C1 and C2 are pulling backwards and upwards. So that again is going to help you to come out of forward head posture. It's going to decompress the vagal nerves as they come out of the brainstem. So again, you're pulling up. Feel like you're growing a centimetre taller. Maybe it's only millimetres. Releasing. And again, so breathing in, pull up. And breathing out, come back into center. Soften your knees, breathe in and pull up, and then just do a gentle side bend and just bring in a little bit of your thoracic spine as well. And then breathe out to center. So breathe in and pull up, and then side bend the other way. Just take notice of what feels tight and breathe out and come back into center. So breathe in, pull up and side bend. So for me, very much tightness in the lower third of my rib cage at the back. Breathe in and pull up and side bend. Breathe out and center, and just relax the arms and just notice how different you feel in your neck. Do a few head turns. So sponging, you're going to put your left hand on the back of the head of the neck, and you're going to focus on the fingers of the left hand, pressing into the deep ridge of muscle that's to the side of the spine in the neck. Right hand on top. So imagine the big yellow sponge that we clean our cars with. Soften the knees. You're going to breathe in and pull up, and you're going to squeeze with the left hand. Feel the four pads of your fingers pressing into the muscle at the back of the neck, and then use your top hand to apply even more pressure. And breathe out and relax. So we're going to stay on this side. So you're breathing in, you're squeezing with the fingers, you're pulling up. It was really lovely. So you've got those four pressure points where the fingers are, and then the top hand is really applying more pressure to the degree that you feel comfortable with. And with Franklin method, they use visualization. So as you breathe in and pull up and squeeze, you imagine the in-breath is filling the disc between the vertebrae, inflating them, making you a little bit taller and making your neck a little bit less compressed. So again, breathe in and pull up. Breathing out, releasing. One more. We do about 5. Breathe in. So it's a really good quick fix if you've been on the computer or if your neck's a little bit uncomfortable. So just let go. Bring the arms down and just think, how does it feel on this side of the neck now? And then take your right hand, so you've got the 4 finger pads of the right hand over on the left side of the neck now. You've got your left hand on top, and you're going to breathe in and squeeze and pull up. So you're feeling the 4 pressure points from your fingers of the right hand. Use the top hand to apply a bit more pressure, and breathe out and release. So squeeze, pull up. Breathing out. So when you focus on your breathing like this, breathe in, squeeze and pull up, this is also balancing the vagal system. So the breath very quickly will bring you into that nice, calm, relaxed, parasympathetic nervous state. So any sort of rhythmic breathing. You're breathing in through the nose, you're squeezing with the fingers, you're pulling up. You're breathing out and you're releasing, and you bring the arms down. So about 5 times, because after that the arms will get a little bit tired. So you can feel there's quite an increase in circulation in the neck now, and maybe just turning the head from side to side. So the rib cage is part of the spine, and a nice Franklin method release is, if you want to relax your neck, you look below the neck and you're looking at the fascia that's in the upper chest. So what they say is, if you had like a plastic shopping bag and you put it over your head and stretched it to the shoulders, through the fascial system, you're connected all through the chest to the shoulders, even the upper back is all part of the fascial system that holds our head in place. So we can really feel that with this exercise. If you put your hands in the upper part of your chest, and you're going to just Bring your chin in slightly so your neck muscles are active, and you're going to breathe in and look up, and you're going to pull down with the heels of your hands, and you're going to look up. And just feel how connected we are through the fascia, and then breathe out and release. So for women, we're above the bra line. Men could go a little bit lower. So you're breathing in and you're pulling down. You feel the fascial connection through the chest muscles to the neck. Breathe out and release. As you look up, keep the chin slightly pulled in, so you're not just throwing your head backwards. Breathe in, pull down through the fascia in the front of the body, on the chest. Look up, breathe out and release. 2 more times. So breathing in. So just by relaxing the tight fascia in the chest, you'll help to relax your chest muscles, which will help to relax your neck. So again, breathe in, pull down. Breathing out, releasing. So you wouldn't think that you could be so tight through here until you do that downward stretch and you really feel how connected we are. Heart stretch. So you're going to put your right hand on the left side of your rib cage where your heart is. So the heart is slightly angled, and you're going to put the other hand on top. And the same thing, but this time you're going to use the breath and the downward pull of the hand to really connect with the fascia that's around the heart and the fascia that's behind the heart that's connecting into the back of the rib cage. So you're going to breathe in, pull down and look up. Breathe out and releasing. So this time you're focusing on the deep inhalation, the deep breath, to feel the connections around the heart. You're pulling down with both hands, you're breathing out. So you're trying to use interoception to look at the body, to look at the heart, breathe in and pull down. Use the breath to give you that information about the pericardium, the sac around the heart, breathing out. And then behind the heart is the mediastinum, is a fascial webbing that connects the heart and the lungs to the back of the rib cage. So you're breathing in, you're pulling down. See if you can use your interoception to look behind the heart. So that's an interesting concept. So again, breathe in, pull down. Can you find the back of the rib cage? Breathing out. So the more we can connect with the mediastinum behind the heart in the back of the middle of the chest, the more flexible we'll become in the neck and the thoracic spine, and then indirectly through the lumbar spine. So you can be very stiff in this area where the heart is. And so one more, breathing in, look up. See if you can find the back of the rib cage and breathing out and relax, and just shake out the arms. So the trapezius, these are muscles, these are not the spine, but they connect to the shoulders and really influential in the neck. So we're going to take the left hand to the right side, we're going to sponge, we're going to squeeze the trapezius, 1, 2, 3, and then let go and release. So the imagery is to squeeze the water out of the sponge, squeeze the blood and the lymph out of the muscle, 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, allow it to fill up again. So again, squeeze and releasing, 1, 2, 3, squeezing. So the upper trapezius attaches to the cervical vertebra in the neck, releasing, and the point of the shoulder, squeeze, releasing. And you know, if you float your arm at this stage, you start to notice that the feedback feels very different. The arm side that you've done feels lighter. The side that you haven't done feels heavier. So right hand to left side of neck, slope of the shoulder, and you're going to squeeze, 1, 2, 3, and then release, 1, 2, 3. And squeezing. Squeeze the water out of the sponge, let it refill. So using imagery is a really great way to create a better brain connection to the muscle. 1, 2, 3. Again, squeezing. 1, 2, 3. 2 more. Squeeze. 1, 2, 3. It's amazing how good this makes your shoulders and your neck feel. 1, 2, 3. And releasing. And you can do sponging on any part of the body, but this is probably the place that it feels nicest, in the neck and in the trapezius. So just roll the shoulders. And now if you float the arm, it should feel quite a lot lighter than it did before when you hadn't done that side. Somewhere else you can sponge is the gap between the rib cage and the pelvis, so the obliques. So you're going to put your thumb at the back, your fingers at the front, and you're going to squeeze. 1, 2, 3, and release. And squeeze. 1, 2, 3, and release. So the obliques, they're abdominal muscles, they cross over, but they go down into the pelvis. So they have quite a lot of influence in the back. 1, 2, 3, releasing, and also in the pelvis. 1, 2, 3. Releasing. You can do that the other way around. You can put the thumb at the front and the fingers at the back. 1, 2, 3. So we've got an internal and an external oblique. So changing the hand position just gives you a little bit more contact with both of those muscles. Squeezing. 1, 2, 3. Releasing. Squeezing. 1, 2, 3. One more, squeeze. 1, 2, 3. So you feel the difference right side, left side. Maybe you lift one knee, you lift the other knee. Can you feel a difference in the heaviness in the side that you haven't done yet? And even into the arm feels lovely and light. You do the other side, it feels a little bit heavier. So in the fascial system, we've got lots and lots of nerves, more nerves in the fascial system than in the muscles often. And so you're getting that sensory feedback through the vagal system to the brain to really relax some of these areas. So now let's go to the obliques on the other side. Thumb at the back, fingers at the front, and you're going to squeeze the sponge. 1, 2, 3, and release. 1, 2, 3. Squeezing. 1, 2, 3. Releasing. Squeezing. So Franklin method has got some really lovely techniques to really work on the myofascia. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Then change it to the fingers at the back and the thumb at the front. So you're squeezing and releasing and squeezing and releasing and squeezing. So you're bringing in fresh blood, fresh lymph. You're talking to the nervous system. One more. So again, now just see, just see how that heavier leg, how it compares now. It should feel much more the same. And the arm float, nice and light, nice and light. So communicating to the brain through the vagal system. So the vagal system comes out of the brain stem, and it's everything in the torso, his lungs, heart, organs, sending afferent messages back to the brain about what's going on in all these different systems and in the fascia as well. And some of the other cranial nerves, so not all of the cranial nerves are the vagal system, but they're all dealing with messaging to the body and messages to the body and messages back from the body. So Chinese burn, so when you're doing a myofascial release, sometimes you do something where you're sort of doing like a Chinese burn, like we used to when we were children. You're sort of pulling the skin. And if you look at the crest of the pelvis, so the pelvis comes around here, and the pelvis is all part of the spine. So this is called your iliac spine. Above the crest of the pelvis, if you do sort of Chinese burns, so you're just pulling and stretching the skin and the fascia. So the skin has got fascia, superficial fascia underneath of it, which connects to the lower layers. And then you've got muscles with deeper fascia that connects to the superficial fascia. So as you do this, you're really stretching the fascia. You're stimulating the nerves in that part of the body. And this is a really good way, the Chinese burns around the pelvis. It's a really good way to relax your back. So oftentimes if you've got an achy, uncomfortable back, if you just do this, you're just going to change the status quo in the nervous system, and the muscles are going to relax just by working the fascia around the pelvis. So that would be the sponging at the obliques, and it would be the Chinese burns around the curve of the pelvis. So you could even come down a little bit. It's easier to do this under your clothes against the actual skin rather than through the clothes, but I'm not going to do that on the video. So here's the curve of the other side, and I'm just doing the Chinese burns. So with the Chinese burn, you get a sensation of heat and friction and a bit of a burning sensation. But the fascia really loves this, because as you stretch and pull and twist the fascia, it brings in fluid into the fascia, it hydrates it. And what we're really trying to do is stimulate the nerves in this area that are very connected to the lumbar spine, to just get the back muscles to relax. So you're coming down the front of the pelvis. So the pelvic bones are called iliums and iliac spine. You're just coming down around the curve, so just outside of the bone. These are my trousers here. And you don't need to do it for very long, just even sort of 60 seconds. And you should feel there's a great stimulation of circulation and lymph, and you should just feel a little bit more comfortable in your back. So a simple tip just to look at. Franklin method uses tapping. So you make 2 soft fists, and you're going to just tap the upper chest. It's not hard, but it's stimulating, again, it's stimulating the nervous system. You could tap the breastbone. Guys can come all the way down. We're above the bra line. You could tap the neck, but be gentle. You don't want brain shake. So if you have got a stiff neck, you could just even do it with fingertips. Tapping, tapping, tap the skull, the forehead, around the eyes, around the cheeks, the chin. So that's enough to stimulate the nervous system for the brain to really look at tight muscles. So you can tap trapezius, or you could do fists. So tapping's a bit easier here. Shoulders, we're going to do the whole body, upper chest. So you decide whether you want to do fists or whether you want to do fingertips. Under the collarbones, one shoulder, biceps, triceps, forearms, side of the back of the armpit, other shoulder, biceps, triceps, forearm, back of the armpit. So that's some of your rotator cuff muscles, the latissimus dorsi is the upper back. So then just follow the under curve of your rib cage, abdominals. And then go behind and do the latissimus dorsi, are the big muscles at the back of underneath the shoulder blades. Middle of the back, lumbar curve, whole load of muscles here. Come around to the front and do the front of the pelvis, the ASIS, the anterior superior iliac spine. So this is where your thighs attach to the pelvis, it's your tensor fasciae lata. Come around to the sides, you're going from front to side to back, which is glutes. You could come down into the glutes, you come back around the hip. Come down the thighs, so the middle quad is a very strong hip flexor. We've got inner thighs, adductors and inner quads. We've got outer quads, iliotibial band, TFL. We've got the back of the thighs, hamstrings. So they are free, one in the middle, one on the outside, one on the inside. We've got calves. And we've got shins, we've got muscles at the front of the leg. Come all the way up and then just shake out. And just think, how do I feel now? You should feel quite invigorated and quite alive, and the circulation is really starting to move. So one final one before we go on to the floor, which is to make two fists together. You're going to go behind the lower part of your rib cage, and you're going to go across those lower muscles in the rib cage, and then you're going to add a wiggle. So the moving of the rib cage is going to be more of a torsional release as you do the frictional rub with your knuckles. You come down into the lumbar spine. You come down into the back of the pelvis, the sacral spine. Coming back to the lumbar spine. And then up to the thoracolumbar spine. So just doing these three zones, lower ribs, small of the back of the pelvis, you're already really helping the spine and the back muscles to relax. So that should feel quite nice. So we're going to come to the floor. And you want a pillow for your neck. You want 2 balls or choices of balls, because you might find that what you've chosen is too hard. If you want to go easier, then you've got a rolled up towel or you've got a roller. So let's just tip the camera. I put up 2 classes on YouTube, and I'm going to put another one up today of classes that we've done in the last few weeks. If you go on there, you'll find them. So we're going to start with a melt method. So melt method is like Franklin method. It's another school of myofascial therapy, and we're going to start working on the thoracic spine. So we're going to sit on our bottom, and you're going to put the roller or the rolled up towel. If you know that you're not very flexible in your rib cage, choose the rolled up towel, and that will be challenging enough. And you're going to just come to the widest part of your rib cage. You're going to link your fingers, hands behind the head, and just start very gentle, just an assessment. Just breathe in and look at the ceiling and just assess how tight do I feel and how hard is it to breathe, and breathe out and come back up. Do that a couple of times. Breathe in, keep your chin tucked. You don't want to throw your head back. Breathe out. So when you do the rib cage, the neck vertebra don't move at all. You're not using your neck at all. So what's actually moving is the vertebra in the rib cage. So then do another assessment, just sort of go from right to left and take a few deep breaths and just see what is the quality of my breath. Can you feel your lumbar spine? I can feel my lumbar spine's a little bit tight, even doing this. You could turn that into a sort of a figure of 8 where you draw a circle with your elbows, and again, take some breaths and just assess the breathing. And then come into center, keep your chin tucked and just look at the ceiling, breathe in, breathe out, look forward through the knees. And again, just think, what is my range of motion? How comfortable am I? How does my breath feel? So I can feel it's quite difficult to breathe because my rib cage muscles are so tight. So what we're going to do is we're going to move the roller up to just below the slope of the shoulders. So if you run your fingers down the back of your neck, you feel that you come to a really big vertebra, which is level with the top of your shoulders. So that is your first thoracic vertebra. You need to always be just below that vertebra. So at the back of the shoulders, you never, never, never put the roller on your neck and try to lift your bottom. The neck's not strong enough. So you're always just behind the shoulders. You've interlaced your fingers to support your neck. If you've got neck issues, keep your elbows forward so that your head is in a sort of a cage. And so you're not moving your neck and your chin is slightly tucked. And you're just going to lift your bottom up, feel the pressure at the back of the shoulders, and then lower the bottom down. So you're really working on thoracic vertebra 2 and 3. Do it nice and slow. Keep your chin pulled in. So you're lifting the bottom. It's lovely for the trapezius muscles, this as well. And also serratus, the superior
posterior serratus muscles, so breathing muscles that are on the rib cage at the top of the back of the rib cage, just above the shoulder blades. So you're really helping these breathing muscles to relax. If it's really painful here, you could just lift your bottom and you could just stay lifted, keep your chin tucked, let the pressure of the roller just start to relax the muscles. Come back down. So advancing this, we're going to keep the chin tucked, elbows forward, lift the bottom, and you're going to roll up and down through about 1 centimetre. So really small move. You're staying below the level of the shoulders, underneath that big vertebra, which is at the top of the rib cage, the bottom of the neck. So you're never going above T1, thoracic 1. And then put your bottom down and do a side-to-side scrub. So that is a sort of a side-to-side movement, and you can feel the skin moving over the deeper fascia and the muscles that are underneath. So once you've done that, you're going to bring your feet a little bit closer. If you're on a towel, you're going to have to just reposition yourself because the towel doesn't roll. But you're going to bring the feet a little bit closer, lift the bottom, and you're going to roll the roller down about 1 to 2 centimetres. So you're moving now to thoracic 3 and 4, and you're going to keep your bottom lifted, and you're just going to move up and down through about 2 centimetres. So you're working across 2 vertebrae. You're working the little muscles of the spine. Keep the chin tucked, keep the elbows forward. No pulling on the neck. The head is just sitting in the hands. So this is called melt method. You're really exchanging the fluid in the muscles, getting the blood and the lymph out to bring in fresh nutrient-dense fluid. And then put the bottom down on the floor and do your side-to-side scrub again. So you can feel the skin dragging across the muscle and the vertebra that are underneath. So when you're ready, you bring the feet in a little bit closer, you lift your bottom, you roll down 1 to 2 centimetres more. So now you're on sort of thoracic 5 and 6. So keep the bottom lifted, you're moving through about 2 centimetres, very small movement. Take some breaths when you're here. It's a really lovely technique, this. And then drop your bottom down and do your side-to-side scrub. So we've got 12 thoracic vertebrae, and we're only coming down to about T9. But you'll go by how it feels. So if you feel that it's starting to feel not very strong, not very comfortable, then you start to move up again because you've moved into that weaker part of your rib cage. So you're not going to go all the way down. So again, bring the feet in a little bit closer, keep the chin tucked, lift the bottom, move down another 1 to 2 centimetres. So I can feel here that I'm in my, right on the border of the lower third. So if you've got 12 thoracic vertebra, we've got 3/4 above are okay, but the lower quarter is too weak to take the weight of the roller. So you just find a position where it feels comfortable, and you're moving up and down through that 1 to 2 centimetres. If it feels uncomfortable, you're too low. You're just moving, just pushing the fluid through the muscles. It's going to hydrate the discs a little bit as well between the spine. And then you're going to drop the bottom to the floor. You're doing your side-to-side scrub. So we've got 4 zones, 12 vertebrae, 3 in each. We're in the upper 3/4, not the lower. And from here, so we're right on the line between zone 3 and zone 4, we're going to roll up towards that T1, that big vertebra at the base of the neck. And then you're going to roll down to that 3/4 of the way down where it still feels comfortable. So you breathe out as the roller moves up. You breathe in as the roller moves down. If you're using a towel, you sort of have to walk yourself up and down the towel just by using a sort of a wiggle. And that will give you quite a nice release. So now we're rinsing, we're flushing the blood through the muscles, all the way along the length of the spine, upper spine. So we're really bringing in these big upper back muscles now. So come back to the middle of your shoulder blade area. Still keep the hands forward and repeat those exercises we did at the beginning. We're going to just breathe in and look at the ceiling. How does it feel now to breathe? I can certainly go further. I've got much more range of motion. Make sure the bones in the neck are not moving. It's the bones around the rib cage area and between the shoulder blades. Breathe out as you lift your head. Breathe in to look forward and up. Maybe you're moving your elbows if that feels comfortable and you're not pulling on your neck. Inhale as you go back, exhale as you come forward. Then we did the side to side sway. Then we did circles with the elbows, the figure of 8. And then maybe we're just repeating to look up, opening the chest, look through the knees, closing the chest. Breathe in as you look up, make sure the bones of the neck are not moving. Breathe out as you look forward. Take the hands away from the neck and just turn into a slightly side turned position. So you've got your knees together and you're just gently rubbing sort of just underneath where the armpit, the lower part of the armpit, just behind it. So this is latissimus dorsi teres major. You support your neck. So you're just slightly off the spine, slightly angled to one side, just to get those muscles in the sling of muscles that is underneath your shoulder blades. Then you come back to center, you do a little slight turn to the left or the other side, and you would just do a little bit of moving here as well. And then gently come back into center. So carefully come off your roller and move the roller now down towards the bottom third of your rib cage, but we're not coming forward near the sides of the ribs or the front of the ribs. We're really just at the back, either side of the spine. So the last 3 vertebrae in the rib cage, there are muscles that go from the lower ribs up towards the ribs above. So you've got these little muscles that are stretching up from thoracic 12, thoracic 11, thoracic 10. They're sort of moving out from the spine, so they look like this. And you're just gently scrubbing them. So these are breathing muscles. They can get really tight, especially if you've got sore back. Keep your chin tucked. If you need to support your neck, you do. That's all we're going to do. And then we're going to bring the roller into the space between the ribs and the pelvis, not pressing on that low 12th rib, which is a floating rib. We're just moving towards the spine, and then we're moving slightly forward, but not rolling towards the roller because that pushes on the rib. So you can put your hand across your chest, you're rolling and you're looking at the ceiling, and then you're coming back into that side lying position. So you're looking up at the ceiling. So this is for your erector spinae, the muscles along the lumbar spine, especially, and quadratus lumborum. So really, the back really loves this, and you just want to be gentle that as you come into your side lying position, you're not pushing into the ribs, and you're just using the right amount of pressure that you're comfortable in the back muscle. So not too rough, but firm pressure. And you do maybe 10 of just rolling, releasing. So always a good place to go with your roller or your towel. Helps the back to relax hugely. And again. And come back into center. So let's just change sides. So we're working on those lower breathing muscles that just go from the 12th rib, the 11th and the 10th at either side of the spine, little fan of muscles, very close to the spine. nowhere near the side of the rib cage. So you come right down to the bottom of the rib cage towards the spine, and you're just gently scrubbing. So they're not big muscles, but they do get tight. Make sure you're not pushing on the rib too much. So the lower ribs are not connected in the front and they're not as strong. So they can't take a lot of force. So it's more of a scrubbing action than a downward press. And keep your knees together and your bottom. The weight should be on your bottom, not on the roller so much. So once you've done a few of those, then you're coming into the gap between the ribs and the pelvis. Be aware of that floating rib, this one here, and you're just rolling, hand on chest. You're rolling to look up at the ceiling to find your erector spinae muscles in the lumbar spine, and then you come into your side position, but not forward. So you're rolling, look at the ceiling, and then come into side lying. So we're doing about 10. So this feels really lovely. Keep your chin tucked. You're not throwing your head back. And if your neck doesn't like this, you support the neck with the hand so that the neck muscles don't have to fire up too much. Couple more. That's one. So it really feels lovely. You could easily do this for 5 minutes and it would be time really well spent. So get rid of the roller now. Put the roller somewhere close, because if you've got time, we'll use it again. Look at your balls and just choose 2 that you feel are the right hardness. And it's good to have an easy option. If you feel like, you know, things are a bit tender and it's a bit too much, then you can change and go a little bit softer. So we're going to lie on our back. You want a pillow for your neck. So Franklin method uses massage balls a lot, and you're going to just find with your right hand, just find your sit bone on the right side of your pelvis. So the sit bone is the pelvis, but it's the lowest part of your pelvis, so that when you sit, this prominent bone is where you feel the pressure. So you're going to just find the sit bone, and you're going to put one ball just above the sit bone, and then you're going to put the other ball above the other sit bone. So you're just using the pressure of the ball to actually relax some really strong ligaments that go from the sit bone to the top of the pelvis. So just see how that feels. It's also going to relax your glutes a bit as well. So just maybe try a knee lift. This is one area that you don't want to go too hard with the balls. So just see how it feels. That's good. And then from here, we're going to come up to either side of the sacrum. So the sacrum is a group of 5 bones, the flat bone at the bottom of the spine. You're just at the bottom of that, either side, and just let the pressure just start to relax some of the muscles in this area. I'll just sort my hair out. If you feel your neck's being pulled forward, mine did then, so I took my pillow away. And then you're going to roll your body on the balls down about 1 to 2 centimeters, and you're on the SI joint. You're on the joint between where the pelvis and the sacrum come together. So it's really nice to come along here because there's quite a few trigger points for the glutes through here. So you've got 5 bones that are all part of the sacrum. So then you push up again, you push, the body moves down, the balls move up another centimetre. So now I'm right in the middle of my sacrum. So you can do things like feet and knees together and let one knee fall out and come back up, let the other knee fall out. So this point here is a glute maximus trigger point area, and piriformis as well, both got triggers in this area. So you might find that when the knee falls out, there's quite a little bit of activity and you're realizing that you're quite sort of sore here. So just find what you're comfortable with. And again, and then bring the knees together and roll your body down another centimetre, let the balls roll up. So here we're really coming into contact with the SI joints and S1, sacral 1, sacral 2, and this is where the bulk of the SI joint is. So again, feet together, steady the pelvis, right knee falls out, come back in, left knee falls out. So if this is super uncomfortable, choose softer balls. I've gone for sort of medium, so I'm okay. So if you have got any sort of hip pain, back pain, SI joint pain, this area is really, really a good place to look at. So then move your body down and the ball's up 1 more centimetre. So now we're on S1, sacral 1, which is really the best place to release tension through the SI joints. So this is L5, so 5 lumbar vertebra, 5 sacral vertebra, where L5 and S1 meet. That is a change of function, that is a junction, and that's where we get all our problems, where we get different parts of the spine meet each other. So here, lumbar spine meets sacral spine and the SI joints, and there's a lot going on here. So easy would be just one knee falling out. Stronger would be both knees falling out. Even stronger would be a knee lift, if you're okay with that. So if you've got a soft ball, you could even come to a knee hug. I've chosen quite a firm ball, so I'm not going to do the knee hug because that's just a little bit too much pressure. You want to be a 6 out of 10, remember? So discomfort's okay, but not moving into pain. You could also lift the knee and just do knee circles. So you're using the energy spiraling down the leg bone, the femur, to really get into the back of the pelvis and the SI joints. And then the other knee lifts, maybe circles. So anything with the legs like this, you're going to have to use your abs just to keep your pelvis steady and make your spine comfortable. Now, if you put the feet on the floor and move down another centimetre, you come into what I call the Bermuda Triangle. You come into the part of the pelvis where the curve of the pelvis drops down into the sacrum. So, and the SI joint. So you're right just in the top of that, either side of the sacrum, you'll feel the bone of the pelvis drops down slightly into the SI joints, and you're putting your ball one either side. So this is called the posterior superior iliac spine, PSIS, which means the highest point of the pelvis in the back of the body. So a very profitable area to put the balls. And again, you can do the single knee fall out. You can do the double knee fall out if that's okay. If you're still okay to go stronger, you can do the knee lift. So there's quite a conflict where the lumbar spine meets the sacral spine and the pelvis, and that's where you get all your trouble. So most people have issues with sort of L5, S1. That's quite a common area for back problems. And just gently maybe hugging one knee. Couldn't do that first of all, but now I can because things are starting to relax a little bit. If that's too strong, abs on, and you're doing knee circles. Other side. So while we're here, before we go into the lumbar spine, get your 2 balls and put them one on top of the other and just put them on the sacrum. Sort of in the upper 2/3 of the sacrum. Hands on the pelvis with the feet at hip space, and just very gently, sway your pelvis. So you're using the balls as a midpoint, a balancing point, and then you're just rocking the pelvis like a seesaw. Don't make it an effort coming from the pelvis. Make it the hands that are moving the bones, so you can relax your abdominals, relax your glutes. Try and keep your knees pointing to the ceiling, And the less effort you use, the more effective it is. So if you can just think of the bones of your fingers moving the bones of your pelvis at the ASIS. And Franklin method uses imagery. So you imagine the pelvis is like a bowl and it's half full of water, and you're swishing the water over to the right side, and then you're pressing on the left side of the pelvis and the water swishes over to the left side. If you use the water imagery, you're less likely to be trying to use your muscles. So you just feel like you push the right side of your pelvis down, the water swishes to the right, you push the left side of the pelvis down, the water swishes to the left. You could at this point start to use interoception, your ability to look inside your body, and just look at what's happening in your lumbar spine as you gently rock the pelvic spine. So you can feel there's rotation in the vertebra in your lumbar spine, the spine between the ribs and the pelvis. If you've got tight places, you might find that's a really nice way to gently wiggle those vertebrae and just get them to relax a little bit. So that's called a sacral balance, and it's a really lovely thing to do. And if I was only doing that, I would do it for longer. I'd do it for about 5 minutes. We haven't got time today. So just take those two balls away now and bring them to the back of the pelvis, just above the rim of the pelvis, one either side of the spine, each side. So we're coming up the ridge of muscles that runs along the spine. So this is L5, and here we would do little pelvic tucks. You're pushing into the multifidi, the little rotators, the little muscles that connect the vertebrae to each other in the spine, and the long muscles of the back. And there's three, we haven't got time to do the three today, but there are 3 lines of back muscles. You've got the ones that are just either side of the spine, about 1/2 inch out. Then you've got some that are a little bit further out, about 1.5 inches out. And then you've got the outer ones are about 3 inches out. So you can do the whole spine, do the inner ones, the middle ones, the outer ones. And usually when you do that, you'll find one of those long bands of muscles is more upset than the others, and that will be the one you focus on. So now move your body down about 1 centimetre, and the balls will roll up 1 centimetre, and now we're on L4. So L3, L4 is also a place where usually there's quite a lot going on. The whole of the lumbar spine, but especially L3, L4 is where we do the most rotation in the spine. So it's often a place where we get wear and tear, and we get issues with the disc. So just pelvic tucks. If you're happy to do more, depending on how hard your balls are that you've chosen, you could do knee lifts. Make sure that's comfortable. So this is called a paraspinal release. We're starting the bottom of the spine, we're coming all the way up. You could do it from the top down. So I'm looking at the clock, we're running out of time. So move the body down 1 centimetre. The balls roll up. So now we're sort of L3, L4, pelvic tucks. So as you do this and you come up the spine vertebra by vertebra, you're going to really figure out where your trouble spots are, where your hot spots are. But even if you haven't got back issues, just to do the whole spine is just a really lovely thing to do. You feel great afterwards. So then we move down another centimetre. So I'm about L2 now, coming towards the ribs, pelvic tucks. If this feels too much, you put your hands under your bottom so that there's less pressure on the ball. You're not dropping your pelvis towards the floor. You could do the knee lifts if you're comfortable with that. For me, that's too much because I've chosen quite firm balls. So you could put the hands under the bottom, or you could just do the pelvic tucks. Now, when we go down another centimetre, we're coming to a junction again. We're coming to thoracic 12 and lumbar 5. So again, we've got a change of function from breathing to lumbar spine, walking and moving. So just watch these junctions, because this is where we get the issues quite often. There's a lot of tension. So make sure you're happy. If it feels too strong, hands under the bottom. Keep an eye on the time. It's amazing how quickly the hour goes. So then you're moving down another centimetre. If you're like me and you're getting off the mat, you just move the balls with your hands. So now I'm on T11, T12. So as you come up the spine, there's a certain point where in the middle of the rib cage, your head is hanging towards the floor. That might be when you bring in the pillow so that your head is more supported. I haven't quite got there yet. So move the body down another centimetre. So I'm sort of T9, T10. The balls near the spine is okay. It's just the roller that you don't put in this area. But the balls are close to the spine, so that's not a problem. And even if you go further out, it's not a problem. It's less pressure and more targeted area. So you're coming down another centimetre. So really now I'm near the bottom of my shoulder blades. So about T7. And at this point, I can feel my head feels like it's dropping to the floor. So bring the pillow in. And once you get to the middle of the rib cage, maybe you change from a pelvic tuck to an arm float. And then you're moving down another centimetre. So now I'm between the shoulder blades, floating the arms. You've got choices with the arms. You could do circles with the hand. You can do a float. You could do an open and close. Just whatever feels right. There's one that's called jazz arms where you reach, alternately reach through the arms. So that is quite nice because you're going from one side to the other side. Make sure the head is supported. So down another centimetre. So I'm coming up inside of the shoulder blades, but just outside of the spine. So remember the T1 vertebra. If you come down the back of the neck, you've got one really big vertebra, which is level with the top of the shoulders. You're only going to go to just below that to thoracic 2. So you keep moving the balls up. I'm getting pretty close to T1. So I'm still below that big vertebra, but I'm just a few inches away from it now. Arm floats. So one more time for me, and now I am just below T1, so I can really feel this is quite a profitable place because we're coming to a junction again. We've got C7 and T1 is a junction between the neck and thoracic spine. So it's quite a lot of tension here. So I'm going to do the jazz arms because that's a little bit easier than both arms at the same time. And that's where we would stop with the balls. So knees and ankles together, roll sideways, come up into sitting. Whoopsie. And I've lost my hair. You can see my hair's all come out. So this is where we change now, just for a quick finish, to do the neck. So the neck we can do on the roller as long as we keep our bottom on the floor and we're not lifting up. So the bottom stays on the floor and we've got the roller in the back of the neck and you're just rolling right to left. So this is hitting all of the vertebrae in the back of the neck. If you drop your chin, you go more to the rim of the skull. If you're looking up at the ceiling, it's going across the capitis muscles at the back of the neck. So pretty tight for me through the neck. And then you go to one side and you're doing up and down with the nose, side to side, circles. Small circles or big circles, you'll feel there's quite a difference in where the roller is affecting. And then you go over to the other side, you're nodding the nose, the head up and down, side to side, small circles, spiraling into big circles, change direction. And then just finish again with right to left. Look at the ceiling, get the neck. And then just bring your knees together, ankles together, roll sideways, come up into sitting. So that was traveling, get rid of the hair, traveling along the spine.
Starting in the neck, coming down and then looking at the pelvis and then coming back up the spine, back to the skull. So hopefully you enjoyed that.